Weezer, Island in the Sun. Pretty easy tune, so let's get right into it. The song is really built around a 2-measure phrase, and that's got 4 chords in it. So that main riff that I just played is the one that you hear quite often throughout the whole song. So let's talk about that first. And we have 4 chords in there. E minor, A minor, D, and G. But we're only going to play the top 3 strings of all of these chords. So E minor, and that's really a D minor, slid up a whole step to E. So we've got E minor. And then A minor is just barring the top 3 strings at the 5th fret. And that's the top 3 strings of a A minor bar chord. And then we've got a D, just a basic D chord, nothing special there, you should know that one. And then a G. And again, that's the top 3 strings of a G major bar chord. So the first thing you want to do is just be able to switch those chords. Just get those memorized and be able to change. Now, once you can do that, the hardest part of the riff is going to be the syncopation. We're not changing on, you know, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. That main riff is changing on the upbeats. So it's 1, 2, and. We're changing on the ends. 1, 2, and 3, 4, and 1, 2, and 3, 4. And that's how it gets that feel that it's got. Okay, so the other thing to notice about that riff too is that we're doing some muting there, some choking of the chords. We're not just strumming. It doesn't quite have the right vibe to it, right? So we want to go. So we're muting those chords off. And so I make them short by doing a couple of things. I release the pressure quick with my fret hand. And I'll also drop this hand. So it's kind of a combination of both hands doing something to get that nice and short. Okay, and that's the main riff. Now there is guitars layered up in this as well. In the intro, there's a second guitar that comes in, and it's just strumming the ordinary chords. And it is an acoustic, but I'll just show you on the electric since it really doesn't make any difference. So we're going to be strumming those chords up a little bit higher. We're going to be strumming an E minor bar chord up at the 7th fret. And then that will be going to an A minor, a D, and then G. And then that rhythm strum pattern looks like this. And then that repeats around. So we've got the same 4 chords, just strumming them in different areas of the neck, filling out the sound. Now, that is basically what the song is built off of. That plays for the verses, and the chorus keeps the same riff going. But in the chorus, we hear another guitar come in that goes like this. Okay, and that just is another 2-bar figure that coincides with the main riff, and they work together, and it fills out that sound, makes the chorus a bit bigger. And then really the only other section that we have to talk about besides the little solo that's in there is the bridge section, where, you know, it gets a lot heavier. The distortion really kicks up a notch. It starts on a D power chord. And so we can do this D but at the 5th fret, but we want to bar the 2 bottom strings. So what we're doing is a D/A. So we have a D power chord with A in the bass. So it gives us a bit of a heavier sound. And it's okay if you snag the 2nd string there too to get a D chord, not just a power chord, but the full D major. Still sounds pretty good. And then we go to a G power chord, back to D, back to G, C. So exact same thing that we did for our D. We're just playing it down 1 whole step down on the 3rd fret instead of the 5th. And again, you could play the C chord by adding that 2nd string in there to an A power chord to a D power chord. Okay, so that's our 8 measures for that section. We have D for measure 1, G for measure 2, D for measure 3, G for measure 4, C for measure 5, A for measure 6, and then back to D for measure 7 and 8. Okay, now that's the easiest way to get through it, and if you did that, there's nothing wrong with that. But there's also another guitar layered in there, which can give you some clues on other ways to approach this. And that second guitar there's another like acoustic, very clean guitar in there playing these basic chords. So for the measure of D, we'll just play a D, and you can include the open A underneath that. To G power chord, this is a G power chord. We'll play all 6 strings except we're muting the 5th string off with the underside of our 2nd finger. Back to D. To G again. Now C, and then that second guitar that's strumming those chords is just lifting the 3rd finger and getting an A minor 7. Back to a D. So since that guitar is playing those chords, all of these that we were playing with that first guitar are fine, except when we get to that A minor. I don't think it was recorded just playing straight power chords at that point. You can duplicate and get a little more color in these parts by starting off with our D, G, D, G, C, and then to duplicate that A minor 7, all you have to do is drop this 2nd finger onto the bottom string and keep that other bar going, and you've got an A minor 7, and you're adding some color there. So G, C, A minor 7 to D. And when you layer those 2 guitar parts up, it's going to sound a lot more like the song rather than just playing basic ordinary power chords. Now, that's pretty much the song in a nutshell. We just have to cover the little solo, nice little melodic solo that's in there. So let's quickly do that. I'll play that and then we'll break it down and we've got the song. So like I said, a nice short melodic solo. Let's just talk about how to quickly pull this off. It sounds like starts with a natural harmonic. So you just lightly touch over the fret wire on the 7th fret of the G string and get that harmonic to ring. You don't have to, you could just hit that note. Right, it just kind of loses a little something. So you want to hit that, then the 5th fret of the B string, and then back to the 7th fret of the G string. And then we go down to the 5th fret, and then the 4th fret, and repeat that. Okay, now there's a little rake there into the 4th fret again. So you want to use a quick downstroke, and yeah, it's kind of like sweep picking. And you just want to go 7th fret on the 5th string, 5th fret on the 4th string, and then back into your 4th fret. And back to the 7th fret of the 4th string, and then 5-4, 5-5 with a little slide. Okay, now we can slide up into the 9th fret. To start our 2nd half of our solo, we'll slide into that 9th fret, back to the 7th fret. So we're kind of repeating that same melody. And then we have to hit our 5th fret. So there's a string skip there. We hit our 5th fret on the 5th string, back up to the 4th fret on our 3rd string, and 7th fret on the 4th string. 5-4 on the 4th string, and then 2-5 stand it. And there's your solo. And that's really all we have to talk about the song. Put it all together, and there's Weezer. So I'll see you next time. Hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to hit like so you keep seeing my videos. I'll see you next time.